Hello everybody, Dr. Blue here. Today we're going to be talking about E3 2017. I'm not entirely sure how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to try and cover everything from the major press conferences at E3 this year for those of you who either missed it or didn't have the time to watch those 2, 3, 4 hour long videos. That includes the EA press conference, the Microsoft press conference, the Bethesda press conference, the Sony press conference, the Ubisoft press conference, the Nintendo press conference, and the PC Gamer press conference. Try saying that 6 times over. I also have a couple of quick messages at the end of the video regarding the channel. Nothing too important, but I hope you stick around for them. Anyway, enjoy the video and let's get started. First up is the EA press conference, in which we had a new game announced by BioWare called Anthem, a game set in an alien world filled with alien creatures that's set to come out in 2018, somewhere near March and April. There wasn't much information on it on day 1 of E3, but later in the Microsoft press conference, they gave us a gameplay trailer about the mech suits that you used, which are known as javelins. These suits are supposed to be heavily customizable, and if I had to compare it to a couple of games, I'd say it seems similar to the Avatar game, with a hint of Destiny in there, maybe a little bit of Titanfall as well. And whether that's a good thing depends on your thoughts on Destiny. Throughout this gameplay trailer, they were like talking to each other, but it sounded like it was coming from in-game. I thought they were doing like the story, and it's got like a little voice comm system, and it was a multiplayer experience, but it sounded like story dialogue. That's probably like maybe an overlay of the voice or something, but if that is in game, I really hope it falls through like that, because that makes it that much more immersive. We also got some gameplay footage for Star Wars Battlefront 2. They're claiming that this one holds a lot more than the last game, and I think they're trying to go back to the old game with classes like jetpack guys and medic guys, and so it's a lot like the old game and not like Battlefront 1. They talked a lot more about balancing in this game. I didn't play the last one, so I'm not sure what the game was like, but they said this one will be more balanced. You can get items like tanks and stuff through kills, or even contributing to the team like taking objectives. The yearly sports games also showed up as well, with Madden NFL 18 and FIFA 18. They included details about the journey and long shot story modes. I'm not really into those kind of games, so some of you might know more about that than me. But there was also a new mention of new features being added to the next basketball game, the NBA. It's got this new One mode where you can travel around the country playing basketball, and even like a FIFA Street kind of thing. Again, not really my thing, but you couldn't miss it. Also, the new Need for Speed game, Need for Speed Payback, received a nice gameplay trailer and some cinematics included in that. It also included Jesse Wellens stumbling over his words.
What up, guys? Thank you for having me, EA. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Jesse Wellens, and I am a YouTube creator. So I am here to talk about Need for Speed Payback. If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback, yeah, it's a great game. But all right, all set aside, I'm a YouTube creator. Need for Speed Payback, it's coming out. I got my boy Marcus, executive producer here. He is the producer of the game. Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Hey man, thanks, Jess.
We also had a new indie game that was revealed at E3 called A Way Out. If this isn't familiar to you, then maybe Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons will ring a bell. That was this little great game that told a huge story without uttering a word of English. But A Way Out is a heavy co-op game where you and your friend try and break out of this prison or multiple prisons. Me and my sister are always looking for games to play, so this is going to be great for us, and I hope it is for you too. One negative about it though is that even if you play it online, you'll still get a split screen thing going on, which kind of bugs me because I hate to share screens, but hey, maybe it'll be good. There were also some announcements from Battlefield 1 announcing new maps, new weapons, and a bunch more content through the form of a trailer. There were hints at a new game mode too, so if you're a Battlefield 1 player, look forward to that. Right out of the gate of the Microsoft press conference was the Xbox One X. They released a whole bunch of specs, but their main selling point was that it could run 4K. And while that's all well and good, not many people have 4K TVs or monitors these days. It's not exactly commonplace to own one, but they did say that the console would at least enhance 1080p graphic TVs anyway. They announced that all Xbox One games, all Xbox 360 games, and even original Xbox games will all be backwards compatible with this console. It's also got liquid cooling, which I think is probably an important thing to bring up, and they've announced that it's the smallest Xbox ever, which is quite impressive for the specs they're claiming. They announced that the price for it is going to be $500, which is a bit on the expensive side, and I think they're probably going to have to bring that down if people are going to buy it. So first up for the Microsoft games is Forza Motorsport 7, which we got a cinematic trailer for. They brought out a brand new fucking supercar on stage and revealed it to the world at E3. It was definitely a sponsorship, but it seems to be mutually beneficial as well. They mentioned that there's going to be weather upgrades, visual upgrades, and more cars than ever in this game. We also then got a gameplay trailer to follow up on it. We then got a gameplay/cinematic trailer for Metro Exodus, the new Metro game, and it's a game set in a universe where humans have been forced underground, and it's usually extremely hazardous above ground with the weather and the monsters, and sometimes other humans if they're around. So far, they've always had great stories in their games, so that's something to look forward to. We then got a gameplay trailer, but more of a cinematic trailer for Assassin's Creed Origins, set in ancient Egypt. You play as Bayek, an Egyptian sheriff, and they've changed their gameplay mechanics a lot. They had a lot of gameplay footage along with this trailer that you can use an eagle to scout locations, you can shoot a bow whilst you're in the air, you've got new shield combat, and you can guide your own arrows. There's a lot coming in this new Assassin's Creed game, and I hope it's not going to be a letdown like some of their games in the past have been. PlayerUnknown himself came out announcing that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will be coming to Xbox, which should be exciting. I've not been able to play this game yet, so I'm really looking forward to that. And by the way, PlayerUnknown is Brendan Green, like that. That's his name. Not so unknown anymore. Deep Rock Galactic, a little indie spelunking game, got a reveal trailer. You and 5 friends will go digging and spelunking in these caverns of this dangerous world where monsters could be in any of the caverns around you and discover treasure and loot and all that stuff. It looks really good. I think it's going to be a great little action game. A title you may be familiar with and be looking forward to is State of Decay 2, which I've personally been looking forward to for a very long time. It's finally got multiplayer and it looks like they've not tried to change the gameplay at all, which makes it amazing. I hope it's like if you get bitten and you don't get a cure and then you die. I hope it's like that because it makes it so much more scary and dangerous, whereas other zombie games you can survive getting hit like once, twice, 5 times, but it's not realistic. I want a game where if you get bitten or scratched, you gotta get a cure or that's the end. It makes it so much more realistic. Oh yeah, and it got a gameplay/cinematic trailer. Another game known as the Darwin Project got a cinematic trailer. It looks like another Hunger Games clone, but a lot of the Hunger Game clones out there are pretty bad anyway, so hopefully this one can be better. Minecraft, which everyone knows is my favourite game of all time. They're getting a community marketplace, cross-platform play on both mobile, VR, PC and console. Player-made skins and textures are also coming to the game along with community-run servers, and Minecraft is going 4K. I'm not sure why. Oh, and they're also getting a super duper graphics pack. We got a cinematic trailer for a 2D Dragon Ball fighting game, Dragon Ball FighterZ. I've never gotten into the series myself, but I know a lot of people might be excited for this. A gameplay trailer for Black Desert was released, which is this MMORPG with a dash of anime in there. We got a cinematic trailer for a game called The Last Night. It's a game with 2D pixel characters but realistic scenery. It looks very intriguing. I think it's probably going to be a really beautiful game and it's probably going to be very story oriented. Keep an eye on this one. We got a gameplay trailer for this 2D platform game called The Artful Escape. Not really sure what I feel about this game, other than I'm kind of curious. I'm not really sure what to make of it. We've received a cinematic trailer for a game called Code Vein, which is basically anime plus Dark Souls. I know my friend Dan will really be liking this game. A gameplay trailer for a pirate game called Sea of Thieves dropped. You and your pirate crew, which I thought may have been AI, but I can now confirm that they can be players. You can explore the world and fight enemies in search of treasure. It looks really good and exciting, and it seems like your decisions will affect how well your crew does. Even if you don't pick up the game, I recommend that you check out the full version of the trailer in the link below because it's just really hilarious. We also got a gameplay trailer for Tacoma. I have no idea what it's about. It's maybe similar to the Stanley Parable game or maybe Numa. I don't know. This game didn't give a lot of information. We also got a gameplay trailer for Super Lucky's Tale. It reminds me of Skylanders. It seems like a game for maybe a younger audience. There was a short trailer for a Cuphead game, and I believe Cuphead may have been an old cartoon in the 90s, and now they're making a game of it. I'm curious as to how that'll turn out. We then got a gameplay trailer for Crackdown 3 starring Terry Crews. It's probably what he teased about way back when the Overwatch community was going crazy about him possibly being Doomfist. Sorry guys, I guess he's doing Crackdown 3 instead. The game looks like Saints Row or Sunset Overdrive, and I played the first Crackdown and didn't enjoy it that much honestly. Mostly because it didn't work that well because it was a really early game, but I did really enjoy Saints Row and Sunset Overdrive, so hopefully this game lives up to those. Then we had a bunch of games at once. We had Osiris, New Dawn, a space exploration game, Raiders of the Broken Planet, which looks a little like Borderlands, Unruly Heroes, a 2D medieval game, Path of Exile, a top-down medieval game, a little like Diablo, BATTLERITE, which seems like a top-down MOBA maybe, it looks a bit like League mixed with Smite, Surviving Mars, a cartoonish space game where you build your own colony, this looks pretty good, Fable Fortune, I assume it's a Fable card game, unless it's a completely different title that just happens to have the same name, Observer, which looks like a futuristic horror game, Robocraft, a robot arena game that looks like it has choppers, droids and tanks, Dunklords, a cartoonish basketball game, Minion Masters Forced to Duel, looks like Clash Royale a little bit, Brawlout, a fighting game, not unlike Smash, Ooblets, not really sure what to call this one, Dark and Light, that looks like a medieval RPG, Strange Brigade, which looks a bit like Uncharted, but more fantasy-esque, Riverbond, a top-down pixelish dungeon crawler, maybe? Hello Neighbor, obviously I think you guys know from the previews what that is. Shift, a side-scroller fighting game. Conan Exiles, of course the beta survival game, which will be coming out in full eventually. And then we have a gameplay cinematic trailer for a uniquely styled game called Ashen. It looks like an emotional game with two friends. I think it's single player, however. Another game that I reckon is going to be story oriented. We got a cinematic trailer for Life is Strange 2 Before the Storm. I have the first game, but I've never actually played it. That might be a good idea to do on the channel at some point. From what I hear, it's a disappointment, but let's hope the second game is better. Then Shadow of War, a game I've been personally following really closely. We got gameplay footage of Shadow of War and Bruise, that fucking walking meme. The footage shows a bit of the story between Bruise and Talion, and Bruise is this well-spoken, hilarious Olog High.
Serve the bright Lord now.
Bright Lord, Dark Lord, same thing really. End result's me ripping spines out, which I like to do anyway, so either way's a win.
Gather your troops.
Will do. Ooh, just make sure you let me pop his heads off, won't ya?
They also showed more of the Nemesis system and Uruk's coming back to life, and I just hope that it's a lot more consistent than the first game. They also did several streams of the game both on and off E3, showing you can plan your attack and manipulate different parts of the attack. My only concern is that they've been showing a lot of Fortress Assault, almost like they're too scared to show any of the other modes. I hope there's more to this than just Fortress Assault, because at the moment I feel like the whole game is revolving around that. They also said that Overlord customizes the fortress to his liking, although all the throne rooms kind of look the same. With the reveal they had this like fire fortress with fire vents, and I thought maybe with other types there'd be a different size fortress. Or maybe like not vents there or something else, like spikes coming out of the wall or something. I wish there'd been a bit more customization with that, but from what they've shown us so far, they're going to be sort of the same, but different people inside, I guess. We have an exclusive cinematic trailer showing different worlds of this most likely dark, story-based game called Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I know there's been a previous Ori game before it, but I've never seen it before. It might be interesting to pick this up. Then they had an announcement, Forza 3, Gears 4, Minecraft, Killer Instinct, and Halo Wars 2 will all be getting upgraded to 4K for free. And then a bunch of recent Xbox games will be getting updates at some point. And all the titles mentioned in the Microsoft conference will be coming out this year. On to the Bethesda showcase. 3 VR games are coming out this year. Doom VR, not exactly new, but hey, I guess it's in VR now. Fallout 4, which is also now VR, which seems pretty cool, especially with turning and examining your own weapons. And that will also follow with Skyrim. And instead of a new Elder Scrolls being announced, they just announced that Skyrim will be coming to more platforms, including the Switch, where you can dress up like Link. Now, I'm not any kind of game dictator or anything, but I think we can all agree that if a new Elder Scrolls game isn't announced soon or by next E3, the community is going to go crazy. Speaking of Elder Scrolls Online got a new DLC, Morrowind. We also got a cinematic trailer for that. Never personally played the game myself, even though I own it, but from what I hear it's awful when it came out, and now it's marginally better. They also announced a Creation Club, which is more tools for people to use and create in mods, and some modders will now have a way of getting paid. A bit of a controversial issue in the Elder Scrolls modding community. You can use in-game credits to download pre-existing mods, although I'm unsure of how you're going to get these credits. I hope they aren't asking people to buy them with real money. But I guess that's how the modders get paid, really. As I said, a controversial issue. We received a cinematic trailer for Elder Scrolls Legends, a little card game of Skyrim, and it got a DLC, Heroes of Skyrim. The game is already out for free on Steam if you want to pick it up. We We got a cinematic trailer for the new Dishonored 2 DLC, a story of revenge and assassination. It's a story of Billy Lurk and Dowd hunting down the Outsider. It looks really good and interesting, but they're riding this Dowd thing pretty hard, and being someone who never played the Dowd DLC, it makes no sense to me. Something that I already mentioned in my review. We also got a short trailer announcing that there will be Quake World Championships in August. And The Evil Within 2 is happening. We were told this through a cinematic trailer. Sebastian is back and his daughter is alive. He needs to go back into the Evil Within world to rescue her somehow. There's going to be new monsters and bosses and the mystery of his daughter and even old bosses too. And maybe even Joseph is back? And I never picked up the DLC for this, which holds a main piece of the story showing that Kidman, who was with them, is a traitor, and now that's going to be the focus of the second game. They're running that a little like Dishonored 2. Having a piece of DLC in the first game dictate where the second game goes. A bad habit that I think Bethesda needs to break. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus is coming, and you play as Blazkowicz, the guy from the New Order. You're part of the Resistance and you get to ride some of their new mechanical beasts. It seems a lot more explosives. How do I know this? We've got a cinematic trailer for it. And everything they presented will be out this year. Next up we have the Sony press conference, and first up we got a cinematic trailer for Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It's the new Uncharted DLC that they wanted to focus on, which means unfortunately there is no Last of Us 2 news in this conference. A little disappointing really, but I'm sure the Uncharted DLC will be really good. A cinematic trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds DLC dropped. Having never played this game myself because it's an exclusive, I don't have first-hand experience, but from what I hear, it's worth your time. We got some gameplay footage of Days Gone, a new zombie survival game, which looks decent because there seems to be loads of zombies in certain areas, like hordes worth, not just a few. But if the detection mechanic functions the same as it did in this footage, it's going to be really easy to avoid them, which I hope isn't the case. There was some gameplay footage of Monster Hunter World released. This should make a lot of you fantasy fanatics out there happy. We also received even more gameplay footage for Shadow of the Colossus. It looks really good from what they've shown. I've never played the first one because apparently the prequel was like a really old game, but it looks really good coming back. There was a cinematic trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a bunch of your favourite heroes from different films, video games and movies, all coming together to deliver a beatdown. And we got a cinematic/gameplay trailer for Call of Duty World War II. I know some people have been waiting for this for a while now, I just hope it's going to be better than most of the recent games of this genre. There was a gameplay trailer dropped for Star Child VR, which is this 2D side-scroller game, so I'm interested to see how they're going to fit VR into this. Then we got a cinematic trailer for the Inpatient VR. It seems like you're a patient trapped in some sort of hospital or psych ward. Obviously a horror game. I thought it was Wilson's Heart at first. Then we got an extremely over-the-top gameplay trailer for Monster of the Deep Final Fantasy 15 VR. And although the title sounds cool, it's just fishing with a hardcore rock song in the background. You can't help but laugh.
Oh yeah!
After that, we got a gameplay trailer for Bravo Team VR. It seems like an intense shoot-'em-up game, I just hope it isn't too generic. Then we received a cinematic trailer for Moss VR, which again is a 2D side-scroller game where you play as a mouse. Again, I'm not sure how they're going to fit VR into this, but power to them. Then a strong second of my favourite of this Sony conference, we got a cinematic/gameplay trailer for God of War. You've got this beard now and it looks interesting because you play as sort of a guardian of this child who turns out to be your son. I'm really interested to see how that game dynamic plays out. A father teaching his son the lore of the wild. And ironically, following my second favourite is my most favourite cinematic/gameplay trailer, which is for Detroit Become Human, an Android Revolution game where you can choose your path. It looks like a very interesting choice game made by the same people who made Heavy Rain. I'm personally really looking forward to this one. And then we got a cinematic trailer for Destiny 2. I'm very surprised they're even trying a second one after what a horror the first game was. But there seems to be actually a main boss villain this time and actually some story. I know a lot of people like Destiny 1, but I am firmly in the camp of those who strongly dislike it. I thought it was a terrible game. But anyway, if they mess this one up, I have a feeling my camp will be getting a lot more populated. So let's hope they don't. And finally, for the Sony showcase, we got gameplay footage for the new Spider-Man game, which looks awesome. I really hope they do all they showed here and more, because this game looks really promising. And now on to the Ubisoft conference. First up, we had this huge announcement of a Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle game. It's a big Ubisoft and Nintendo collaboration where the Rabbids cross over into Mario's world, and there's gameplay footage of the open world Mushroom Kingdom, and it's a strategical grid game. A popular example of comparison would be XCOM. Then we got a cinematic trailer for AC Origins instead of the gameplay footage we got earlier. Then we got a cinematic trailer for The Crew 2. I played the first one a little, but I found it extremely boring. Maybe that's my fault, maybe I didn't play it enough. I don't really want to write this game off yet, but I hope there's more to do. And everyone's favourite TV show turned video game, we got a cinematic trailer for South Park: The Fractured But Whole. This game is the definition of exception. Almost every movie gone video game has been terrible, but South Park did it right. It's impressive. We then got an in real life trailer for Transference VR. It's this game where you meet all these creepy people and it's kind of hard to establish what it's about yet. Suffice it to say, it's probably a horror or psychological game. After that, we got a cinematic trailer for Skull and Bones online pirate game with friends all by yourself. It looks really good graphics wise, and you'll need to manipulate tactics like positioning and the wind to win your battles. However, the gameplay and the fighting looks very similar to Black Flag. Like, the cannon targeting system is almost an exact clone. We then got a gameplay trailer for the new South Park mobile phone game. It's called Phone Destroyer. Not entirely sure what it's about, but it's got South Park and it's got fighting, so I'm down. There was a cinematic trailer for Starlink Battle for Atlas, which looks like a space exploration game, with enemies that look like Horizon Zero Dawn enemies on some planets. It looks intriguing. We then got a gameplay trailer for Steep DLC, Road to the Olympics, which is a snowboarding game, if that's your thing. We then got a cinematic trailer and gameplay footage for Far Cry 5. You guys probably know this game, or at least have heard the story for it. If not, it's about a cult in Montana that vaguely resembles Christianity. And can I just say that the plot seems like an exact copy of Outlast 2? I'm just saying, the cult storyline is already getting old. Get creative, people. We then got a cinematic trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. The first game was really old and I never played it, but the game is just now being explored again. So hopefully this turns out really well. Moving on to the Nintendo section of the video. We got a cinematic trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It looks like an anime battle game, you know how those weebs do. I believe it's an RPG-styled game. We then got a gameplay trailer for Kirby, everyone's favourite pink thing. Anyway, it's a 2D side-scroller. A new Pokemon game is being made for the Switch. They didn't give out too much information on it, but they just wanted to let us know that it's coming. Metroid Prime 4 was announced. No trailers, unfortunately, just the announcements. A gameplay trailer for Yoshi, a 2D side-scroller, dropped, in which you can flip the screen to solve puzzles. We then got a cinematic trailer for Fire Emblem Warriors. I only ever played Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, which I really loved, which was a strategical grid game, but I think this one is an RPG instead. Then we got a gameplay trailer for the DLC pack of Breath of the Wild. They're called The Master Trials and the Champion's Ballad. They then brought up the Mario and Rabbids collaboration that we already talked about. Rocket League is also coming to the Switch for all your convenience needs. And then we got a cinematic trailer for Super Mario Odyssey with some really cheerful music. I recommend you at least check out the trailer on that one, even if you don't pick up the game. Almost there, Woffs. Just PC gamer to go. There was a cinematic trailer for XCOM 2 DLC, War of the Chosen. There's now 3 recurring enemies called the Chosen who have different styles of combat. There are also mutated humans in the game now, but let's be honest, they're zombies. This looks very interesting, and as an XCOM 2 player myself, I'm looking very much forward to this. We then got another cinematic trailer for Ooblets and a bit of a discussion afterwards. There's a gameplay trailer for BattleTech, which is an arena robot game. We got a gameplay trailer for Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, which is a medieval fighting game where wars clash. We then received a cinematic trailer for Total War Warhammer 2, a game I'm sure many of you are familiar with. There was also a cinematic trailer for the expansion of Shadowverse Wonderland Dreams. Shadowverse is a card game that has lots of content and is now getting more. We got some gameplay footage of Tunic, which is this top-down adventure game full of cube-like atmosphere. And then we got some updates for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. There'll be weather, new weapons, and vaulting coming to the game. I can't believe vaulting wasn't already in this game. That's like a basic mechanic, but then again, it is still in beta. And there was a cinematic trailer for Killing Floor 2, getting expansion, Summer Sideshow. It's a month-long event that they're running on Steam. Then there was discussion about Forza, Sea of Thieves, and The Last Night. And then there was a cinematic/gameplay trailer for WELLENS, which is where you conquer an island and you build on it, sort of like Minecraft, I guess. We then got a cinematic trailer for Griftlands, which is this choice-based 2D game. Maybe a little like the Telltale games, but obviously 2D. Then a cinematic trailer for Lone Echo VR dropped. It's a game where you navigate around a space station using your hands as astronauts do. and you encounter problems and solve mechanical problems and maybe even some story. This one seems interesting. We got a gameplay trailer for Lawbreakers, which is supposed to be this super intense, fast-paced action game where I think they're probably looking to turn into an esport by the looks of it. Then there was some gameplay footage of Wargroove, which is this grid-based 2D strategy game where you can also build maps to fight against each other. I'm kind of liking the look of this one. We also had a bit of Shadow of War discussion and cinematic trailer for the story. And finally, there was one cinematic trailer for Age of Empires Remastered, an ancient popular online PC game that is being remastered. Wow, that took me a while to finish. I hope this video is short enough for you guys, or at least relatively short in comparison to E3. I hope you obviously enjoyed it, and just a couple of things before I go. The reason for upload stopping for just over a week was because I just needed a bit of a break, but it didn't really become a break because I was doing this the whole time. Also, if you would like to take a look at other content creators that I find interesting, or at least I consider good friends, please check out my sub box on the right and give some love to Koch. These guys have been hovering just around 200 for a while now. Let's see if we can't push them over the edge. Anyway, that's it from me. Regular gaming videos will commence shortly. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. I've been Dr. Blue. You've been my audience. And I'll see you guys next time.
I'm blue.